Welcome to another video from Dr. Lock. I thought we'd do a review on the Ring doorbell. Now, unlike all those other people who've done reviews, they did reviews straight out of the box, and I think we might have even done an unboxing for this particular product when it was new and out of the box. Since then, I've actually had it and I've used it for about a year, so I thought we'd actually do a review 1 year on and talk about some of the good things and some of the bad things I didn't like. So to start off with, I'll just explain the product. Basically, it's a doorbell, and you push the button and it goes over Wi-Fi and then goes over to your mobile phone, alerting you via notification that somebody is at your front door. It also works as, how would you say, a standalone security camera activated by motion sensing. So if somebody walks within a certain field, it'll actually start recording, taking a few snapshots there. So if somebody was to come up to your front door, you would get an image and you could go past and see who's been at your front door. That particular feature is quite good on this device. If you didn't have security cameras installed, then it would definitely be something kind of like a standalone security camera. And also with security cameras, you know that even if you do have security cameras, if something happens, you have to go back over a lot of footage. By having actual, little markers or notifications or short bursts of video recording, it does help allow you to just go through and see exactly what moved in your front door, not having to go through all the time looking at things when things aren't moving. Okay, so overall, this one here I put out in the weather. I fixed it on the front of a gate and I thought I'd give it a try. From day one, I started having a few problems with it. The first one was the actual range of the Wi-Fi. Now, it is said that it can go, all the way around your property and all the rest, but the further away you go, the more trouble you had. I had quite a strong Wi-Fi, what they call, I think it's by Ubiquiti, or UFO is what I use. It's a round disc-shaped thing that you plug your LAN connection into, and it gives you really good, strong signal throughout your house. That was what I was using, and I was having some sort of trouble with this when it was located at the front of the property. Eventually, I did get it working just by moving that a little bit closer. On saying that too, it was just going through a standard concrete brick house. I know the actual design of this is more along the lines of setting it up for your front door of your house. So by placing it at the beginning or the front of your property really does kind of change things a little bit. Also, by having it at the front of your house, generally you're probably going to have it under cover to some degree or under awning or an eave, so it'll get a little bit less weathered than what my particular unit was. So this particular unit here I bought with the Wi-Fi extender and a noisemaker, so inside the actual house, when you push the button, you can actually hear it ring inside the house, even if your mobile phone was flat. That was the whole idea of getting the range extender, which seemed to work quite well. You could set your ringtones and things along those lines. I have dogs myself, so I set it to the dog barking ringtone, so every time somebody pushes this button inside the house, the dogs will get activated, alerted, excited, and start barking their heads off as well. So that pretty much doesn't matter where you are on the property, you can hear that the dogs are barking at something. So that works as a second doorbell for me. So the range extender I had no troubles with, apart from the fact that it's another plug pack powered in and costing me money on my electricity all the time. But that's another story. If you want the functions, you have to do that. Same with the Wi-Fi. If you want the Wi-Fi units to work, you have to have good Wi-Fi strength and be pumping out good Wi-Fi around your house constantly. A lot of people now are talking about turning their Wi-Fi off, just using it when needed, but in this particular scenario with this doorbell and other security applications, generally you've got to have your Wi-Fi running flat out all the time at high power, and that way you'll get good signal, good strength, good everything. Now the actual unit itself, just looking at it after a year, didn't weather too bad. I didn't have too many issues. I can see a slight bit of corrosion down there on the screw. The terminals here, although they were out in the weather, there was no real corrosional issues there. I can look through these holes and I can see a circuit board, but I can't really see any issues with that. So I guess sitting on its cradle, it did kind of stand up to what it was meant to. The screws on the bottom there got a bit corroded, and I actually had to get the angle grinder and put a slice in the screws so that I could use a flat blade to get them out, because the heads of the screws were like a hex screw and they got knurled out very quickly. So that was the other problem. You got to hang on to the tool that it comes with, so you got to literally put it somewhere because you're going to need it when you need to recharge it. One of the biggest drawbacks I found with this particular item was needing to recharge it. On the instructions it says it's good for a year or 100 days or something like that. I was finding I'd be lucky if I get through a month. So we do have people come and go. I'd be saying probably ringing it twice a day, and I was lucky to get through a month. The next thing is, if you can see here on this lens right here, there seems to be some sort of bubbles or something developing there. I'll see if I can zoom into that so you can see. If you can see that, so that those bubbles there, I'm not sure how that's going to affect the clarity, but they weren't there earlier on, so perhaps some sort of moisture or something has gotten into the system. Overall functions as well, I'll just show how it's activated. You just push that button and it makes this noise on the outside. On the inside, via the extender, it will make the same noise, and then also going down to the app, your app will now start beeping and notifying. The reason it's not actually working for me right now is because this particular unit is out of range of the Wi-Fi, so nothing's happening. On the back here you have your button to reset it, and you have your USB, micro USB, like your mobile phone, Android, to recharge it. It's gotten to the stage with this particular unit that I've actually had to drill through where it's mounted and have an exposed hole through the backing plate and connect it up a USB. So it's actually mounted on like a fence. So every time I want to recharge it, at least then I can go up, plug in my USB, which is permanently connected here, and then put a plug pack on the back of that, or one of those USB battery banks. I put it on there for about an hour and then it'll charge, because I got tired of having to remove it, and I felt I was removing it a lot more than what I should have had to have been compared to what the instructions say. The downside to this is that it works on AC voltage. It's not a DC appliance, but yet you can charge it with a USB DC 5.3 volt or whatever it is, but that's more of a charging, and when you charge it, it shows the light on the front, it lights up all the rest, so it's not really a standby power, it's more of a charging the battery power. So you can't really just hardwire DC to AC sort of changeover or anything like that. I did look for things like that just to, because I run multiple cameras with 12 volt power sources all the way around the place, and if I could have converted that into a 12 volt power source, it down to what this needed, an AC, I think it's 18 volt, that would have been brilliant. But I mean, it's pretty hard to go from 12 volt DC up to 18 volt AC, and I couldn't really find any easy way to do that. So having it charging all the time, or having it powered all the time without needing to remove it and recharge it, was something that I just couldn't find a way of doing. So I ended up using this port here and plugging in a USB cable constantly, and basically just plugging it into a battery charging bank to get it to charge every month or two. There's been a couple of, well, probably a month or two there that I didn't even realize that it ran out of battery, and it just went flat on me all of a sudden, and people will be pushing it and getting nothing. So I'll read some of the benefits of it, and then I'll go through and make my comments with it as well. Easy installation, installs in minutes. Well, to be honest with you, this comes with a backing plate, so you separate this unit from the backing plate, you screw it to wherever you want it to, and then basically you clip it on, you install your 2 screws, and you're good to go. So installs in minutes, yes, that's true, but only if it's fully charged, and you wouldn't put a device like this out on site or install it anywhere until it's fully charged. Also, the price of this particular unit is coming up at about $339 when I bought it. This is the older model, and it's been in the field for a year, and that came with the extender as well. So for $339, you don't want to really be wrecking the battery here, because it's probably a lithium ion battery, and you want to get as much use out of it as you can. So the first thing you're going to want to do is plug it in for 2 hours till it's fully charged. Then it's easy installation. It'll go install in a couple of minutes. If you're installing onto brick or anything along those lines, you might need to use wall plugs, and that's going to take you a little bit longer than a couple of minutes. Ultra HD camera. The camera is not too bad. I find it quite reasonable. I would say HD or maybe a little bit less. It's okay, but the problem I have, and a problem with I guess 25% of the people, is depends on which way that your house faces or where you're mounting it. It's great if the lighting condition is constant and you don't have a big amount of light behind what you're trying to look at or in the background, because what happens is that if you've got the sun going down and you've got somebody in front of this camera, you're going to get all this light coming around, and basically any camera shining into the sunlight doesn't do very well. So it's good as long as the sun's not going down, because if the sun's going down, you're going to have a lot of trouble seeing. But on saying that too, it's very hard to combat that problem. The only way you can combat that problem is by using different angles, and there's no way you could mount this that high and look down to overcome that 5 o'clock afternoon shadow. Field of view 160 or 100 degree vertically. It's quite wide. It's got the fisheye lens on it, and I found that's sufficient, not a problem. Night vision infrared is another function here. It's got these infrareds going up here or around there, wherever they're built in. Generally, they're just little LEDs that pump out infrared. We can't see it. We might be able to see little red dots, but we can't see it at night time. But if you put your phone up to it and try and record a movie, you'll actually see those infrared LEDs. Now, yes, they are there and they do work, but only if your subject is close enough that those LEDs can reflect onto them and then back to the camera. So basically, if you were to put your face as close as my camera is right now to this doorbell, which is about a foot, yes, you would be able to identify who's there. The further you go away from that, you're going to get a lot less. Most people, when they push a doorbell, they push it and they stand back about 1 meter to 2 meters. So you're going to get a lot less vision or clarity on their face to be able to identify them than what a lot of people make out. The only way to overcome this is by using external sensor lights, or maybe even an infrared sensor light, and then you will be able to get better illumination, because the nighttime LEDs in this, they're only good up on subjects, up to 1 meter, maybe 2 if you're lucky, to be able to sort of identify and use. So that's that. Mobile alerts, yes, you do have to have the app on your phone, and you do actually have to log into the cloud and all this. Then basically, yeah, when somebody pushes a button here, it will give you a notification on your phone. You're then required to take your phone out of your pocket, unlock it, push on the app or push on one of the notifications to wake it up so that you can see who's on your front door. This takes time. In my experience, with my busy lifestyle, I was lucky to do that within 30 seconds. Sometimes I'd be in the middle of something and I'd miss it for a minute or two, and by that stage the person's already gone. The person had already gone, they've rung the doorbell, they've left. They thought nobody was home. So the ability to get your mobile phone out of your pocket and activate that notification and talk to that person in that amount of time before they give up on whether or not you're home or not is one of the factors that make this a little bit impractical, in my opinion. And it's something that I didn't factor in when looking at this, because I thought, oh no, the app just pops up and you just talk to them straight away. It only works if you've got your phone and you're looking at it right there and then. A lot of the other times it doesn't work, and you might even miss that notification too. Might not be as loud as your ringtone. So you've got to factor these things in. It's not like your phone's going to start ringing and they're going to be waiting on the other end. When you push this, it goes, as you saw before, ding ding ding, ding ding ding, the blue light lights up. It's not like a phone where it keeps ringing and ringing, so you know that you're trying to get that person's attention on the other end. It's not like that. It goes ding 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 ding, the blue light stays on, but people kind of give up quicker than what they do if they were trying to make a phone call. Two-way talk. Speak to anyone at the door via the built-in speaker microphone. Yes, you can do it in a perfect environment like I'm in now. Well, I've got the fan on, it's a little bit noisy, but in perfect environment, yes, you can do it. If you're close enough to it, you'll be able to talk to it. The person on the mobile phone will be able to hear, and they can also hear you if they're close enough. Now, one of the things I found is that if you live anywhere with any sort of traffic and background noise, it's impossible to hear. I live in a place where there is background noise, and people putting their head almost right up to it because they couldn't hear what I was saying. I went through the settings, I tried to turn it up, I just couldn't. So I could barely work out what they were saying as well most of the time if there was any background noise. So there was no noise cancellation features in this, which I found in other products such as headphones and things, which I believe there really should be, because if you can't speak to them and they can't speak to you and nobody can understand what's happening, we're not having a real good day, and it's not doing what it's meant to be doing. So two-way talk, yes, you can, but environment is key once again. So they don't tell you all these sort of things when you're reading the instructions and all this. They don't say, oh, two-way talk if it's a quiet environment. No, they don't, but I will. Okay, power, 24 volt AC power adapter included, blah blah blah. Okay, that's great, but you don't really want to be wiring power all the way to this. It is ideal if you've got an existing doorbell and it runs on AC, which a lot of them used to, that you could actually just hot wire into that, and then you could just swap one doorbell over for the other. Then you'd be on cloud 9, because this thing wouldn't need to be removed and you wouldn't have to keep charging it. But in the real world, a lot of people don't actually have AC power doorbells anymore, so most systems are all DC. So whether or not they include the power pack on your system or the older models or the new models, it really makes no difference. It's running on AC, which is it's not desirable. I mean, most functions or most small electronics you'll find around the home, and security devices, access control, camera systems, they're all running on DC, 12 volt DC. So power pack, yeah, that's great, but you might not want to run wires all the way through from a plug pack from the power point all the way to the front of the house where this is. And in my particular instance, it just wouldn't be worthwhile running a new wire. The only thing that I could do is pick up 12. Okay, so after that we've got optional cloud recording, 30-day free trial. Now, like everybody, I signed up for the free trial, and then like everybody, I looked at it a year later, and basically it just auto recharges. And there's another thing I used, and I thought, oh yeah, I'll keep it, oh no, I'll get rid of it. And basically by the end of the year, it's just another thing that's tacked on my credit card, costing me money that, you know, probably isn't necessary. But the way they build this is that you've got no screen recording, no playback history, no nothing, unless you pay that $4 a month. So once again, they're really trying to get their claws in there for ongoing royalties and returns. So there is no option of going anywhere else. You can't even get the device to work without their app. So the $4 a month seems like something they're, you know, you're not going to get much functionality out of it without it, and you're not going to be able to see who came past your house. It's not like a dash cam. A dash cam, basically you put your SD card in there and you can recall whatever you want. The way I would have liked to have seen it is that it has some sort of internal memory, even if it's very small, and that I could use my device, my phone, go up to it, hook onto it via Wi-Fi, recall maybe just 1 gig or 500 meg of the last 20 images. But to do any of those functions, you must pay your $4 a month. And like I said, it's another thing I found that I was paying for on my credit card that's tacked on there, and it's just another thing you've got to continually pay for. So I wasn't too happy with that. And of course they haven't really designed it in a way where that after buying the expensive product you can just continually use it. It's pretty much becomes a live camera where if somebody pushes a bell you get the notification, great. If not, you got no recall, no images, no cloud, no nothing. So they kind of get you there. Easy to get, yeah. So it's basically free to get and easy to forget about, and then it's a little bit tricky to delete your plan. It took me about 5-10 minutes just to actually work out how to turn my plan off, and I'll show you what happens. So here's my plan here, if you can see it. Okay, so there's my plan there. Basic plan, basic coverage, $4 a month, next payment on this month. Options, so that's how you delete it. You would go options, and I'll take you through. So this is all the devices and basically the way it's hooked on here. So it knows that I've got one device on this particular plan, and I get the feeling the more devices you have, the more it'll cost you. So options, edit monthly payment, upgrade plan or cancel plan. You go through to cancel plan, and then it will take you through, and you just basically push exit or accept, and away you go. So it wasn't too easy to actually get rid of the plan as well. So that was one little thing I wasn't too happy with. The dimensions on this is 114mm by 47mm by 20mm high. Look, it's not the ugliest device out there, so you know, I've got nothing really bad to say about this. This is plastic around here, aluminium finish here, and even though it is open and exposed here, and being out in the weather, I can only see a little bit of corrosion or rust on the screws. So as far as looks and appearance, I think it's quite reasonable. So yeah, basically just going over it all again, my biggest issues with this product was power, sound, ongoing costs, the price. It wasn't cheap. That's one I haven't covered. I could have bought something off Alibaba or eBay, which, you know, would do the same thing, and it would have probably cost me half the price, and I could have most likely got more flexibility in the app, or what I could record or not record. So that's you know, one thing there. The next thing is about this is that a lot of people are probably going to want to use this and hook it up with some sort of relay system. That's what I wanted. I wanted it on a front gate. Somebody activates it. I talk to them. If I'm happy, I can activate the gate, which would have been nothing but a dry relay. But unfortunately, this particular product, although it did say compatible with other things, it didn't actually have a ring product which was compatible to do that. I had to buy a different manufacturer. I think it's called Wemo, W-E-M-O, a separate box, power that up with 12 volt, hook that up to the gate controller so that it works as a relay. And the whole way that works was they basically push the button, I pick it up on my phone, I talk to them. If I'm happy, I hang up that call, I open up the second application, and then I activate the relay. Actually, I think there was a button to do it in the same application too, but basically it failed. The extra box was $140, $150, and I had all sorts of issues keeping it on Wi-Fi. They went out of business, all these sorts of things. So the ability to activate a simple relay and have a simple button on the app is what really should have been there, and I was really disappointed that that wasn't in play here, because a simple dry connection would solve so many access control problems. Also, if you wanted to put a doorbell or a siren or a blue flashing strobe, you could activate that if this particular device had a small little button there where you could turn things on and off. And all we're talking about here is just a simple on and off function, a simple relay, real simple electronics. And because this is all, it has it there, it wouldn't have taken much to actually do that. And for the price, I'm very disappointed that it wasn't there, because let's say you've got somebody at your front door and you're very nervous and you want to set the alarm off. You could have simply just pushed a button there, bells and whistles could have gone off, and it could have frightened the people away, all by having a simple relay. You could have had it activating a door, opening a door. You could do so much with a simple relay, and it wasn't included, and for the price, pretty disappointing. The slow to respond point as well, I did go over that, and to be quite honest, I lost a lot of calls a lot of times because of that, and hard to cancel the plan and logging in of the app. Anyway, that's my review and my whinge of this after 1 year of use. I've just taken off the door to charge it. I've got to find some new screws now to put it back on the door, and it should be back good for another month before I've got to pull it off. Well, actually no, I've put my hole now through so I can charge it that way. So if you've got any comments, leave them down below. Thanks for watching.